think you'll probably chuck it in before the finish.
Well, it can, you know, because this and you have a form after the other, it can be effectively held between length and
He's got a set agenda and he wasn't going to move off it.
We need to ask about the £2,000 and what people want to do with that, don't we?
yeah, you know, the £3,000 that was set aside for an administrator, they're sort of agreed to let us spend 1,000 on those, which we can keep for our future. But the other 2,000, he was reluctant to give us for what we suggested, then we've got to think of another reason to spend. If we can put forward a reasonable argument for something else, consider it. Then we've got 2,000 got to run, which we need to do. It's got to be something to be used within the line of the project, whichever, yeah. So again, they've pushed this before, and we really haven't got much time. And we thought we've got to put a bid in for it.
We've got to get a letter off to the group by the 5th of August, yeah.
Yeah.
But we need what you want to do for the £2,000. But unfortunately, Blair and Paul won't be able to be involved with that, so we'd have to bring somebody else in. But if Blair and Paul have got contacts, you might want to step in, or something like that. But you don't have to bid in for that £2,000. I mean, it's obviously Blair and Paul's finished, really writing up the report September, isn't it? Early September. Yeah.
We finish really.
2 weeks' time.
We finish in 2 weeks' time, and then we write up a report and recommendations. We'll explain in a minute how we think the project should end on the 8th of August, as a way of, preparing the ground for moving it forward.
So maybe we wait to the end of this session then to talk about this £2,000 and what we can do with it or not do with it.
Can you buy capital equipment with it?
I think the £1,000 is the most that you can get.
They can spend the capital on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be doing something simply with the internet or something with an artist doing another.
Yeah.
And that has to obviously be between September and October because the whole funding finishes in November.
I mean, can you tell me why? I mean, not that, just as a matter of interest, why is it that you can't continue? Why? What is the?
They said because you've got conditions of grant aid and you've already had X amount of money. That's it. It's as simple as that. We put a case
for you
for C21 box. Because you've already had the X amount of money, the £10,000, which you would put in for and tendered for, and we put in a business case to extend that and do extra things over and above the project. I thought we've made that quite clear.
Yes.
But they're saying, no, you've already had £10,000 to do the project, and that's it. So they're not seeing that we can extend it or whatever, and give this thing. We actually need you to give us the skills to finish off and to do a little bit more. Because we don't feel, we couldn't do it without you both anyhow. So, but they're adamant against it. They're not supporting that locally. And they don't think the steering group would support that either. So what they're saying is you can still apply for this £2,000, but it would need to be to do something else around multimedia with a different company, basically. And we've argued a case, we still need your skills and we can still work with you and do different things over and above the contract. And I've made that quite clear to Tracy and to Colin and obviously Doug and Janice and very supportive of those conversations, but they're not having it.
Yes, so, I mean, it seems interesting that, because I think it's very interesting in terms of that kind of notion that it's politics. This is a fund that is about a regeneration fund. Regeneration is political. And it's, political with a small p. To talk about your housing estate, to do anything is political, and that it seems to me ridiculous that they are bringing that kind of criteria on. I really feel that I would love to suggest that by the end of the project, the final broadcast, that we should have Colin Hamill, we should have somebody from CSN, whatever, to explain how an equip and enable fund, it ends up feeling like an equip and disable fund. You know,
he said you phoned him.
yes.
And he was a bit cross about it, and I said, well, he was justified. I said, you know, you've encouraged us to take this money, and you've made it difficult for us to do it, to accept it, and I did fall into simply stating of that, because he said you threatened to get in touch with the council or something.
It's a long time ago now, because it's a long time ago. I mean, we first spoke to Colin Hanno over a year ago. Ian and I went to meet him, and then I met with him and Tracy the day I met you, Martin. I was coming back from Northfield, haven't met him. That was like in December last year.
I mean, we've said we've moved on a long way since then. I mean, it's very positive, isn't it?
It's about the political thing, but as I say, it kind of shut it down very, very quickly, and that's that.
Well, I mean, I think that's a very interesting one, you know, to deal with housing issues and issues that are relevant to you, that should be considered to be outside of the remit of the grant. But I think
it's because he hasn't seen the rest. I mean, we said you watched the live broadcast and he hasn't seen the rest of stuff on the internet.
I see.
So people just seen snippets at a time. So they're making judgments and statements and not actually seeing the whole project really. I think, you know.
Well, it's his responsibility, as you know, I would have thought for them to stay abreast of the project and not to just criticise little snippets of it.
Yeah, I think that they're guilty of that, you know. I mean, I think a lot of other groups actually struggled with this budget as well. They're not the only group that complained about it.
Yes. And that's why I think it's a very interesting issue, because we were the only group that would say, okay, well then maybe there's something there. But since other groups have got this grant and been unable to complete the project because of the bureaucratic constraints put upon them, then that something needs to be looked at. That's giving with one hand, snapping it back with the other, and increasing and deepening the sense of failure. Because a group go through that process of putting a bid together, get the bid accepted, and then can't deliver it. They feel that just deepens the hole, in my opinion.
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think they're well aware, and they will say, well, it's European funding. That's the problem. It's the guidelines set by the European Regional Development Fund. And it's not
pretty
them
progressive. I think, from my experience of dealing with Europe, it's pretty progressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is to do, like you say, is to bring them down. But you know, I mean, that's the feedback from that meeting anyway.
Great. Well, I'm sorry.
I think we need to move on a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the project's been very good, and I think everybody's really enjoyed it and benefited from it. So I think, you know, we want to continue with it, and obviously a lot of people have enjoyed working with you both. So I think it's a case of let's put that aside,
and
we'll either do something with that 2,000, depending on what happens today, next week, or we won't.